So Thorfinn throws a punch and just knocks him out, right? We thought it was Inod, but it was Thorfinn who knocked him just straight cold, right?
Wake up to reality. Nothing ever goes as planned in this accursed world. The longer you live, the more you will realize that the only things that truly exist in this reality are merely pain, suffering, and futility.
Hey, welcome everybody to another episode of Vinland Saga. We are on episode 8 of Vinland Saga, and this episode was it was deep, had a lot of emotional meaning, had a lot of character depth. It is a little change of pace of what we got so far. We're not watching Farmland Simulator 2.0, right? We're actually watching an anime. We're actually watching some development here. So they actually combined two chapters. They did chapter 68 and 69 together, which they could have done a lot more of these chapters together, to be quite truthful. I was just telling Nick, like prior, like, hey, we could have got this in episode 4, like this could have been wrapped up a long time ago, right? Now, why they're rushing things is because they only have like 10 or 13 episodes, right? So we start off first. Thorfinn is having another nightmare. He's having basically a climb, an escalation. We now know it from Jung. It's a basically psychology from Jung. It's a Jacob's ladder, right? It's the progression of like your deepest emotions, of how you feel, how things are, how you can progress through grief, right? And that's what he's experiencing right now. So basically, we're seeing like the 12 steps of grief that he's going through, of like sadness, of acceptance, despair, and all that. So I'm not going to get too much into that, but this is what he's basically experiencing, right? So it shows it is awesome animation. I really love that opening. He's traveling up this crevice, this canyon, and then all of a sudden you see these ghoulish people hanging on to him, the people he's murdered in his past, and then they snap his fingers, and he's like, and then he falls right down back into the pit, because that's his despair. That's where he feels so low into this pit that he can't, get out of it, right? So if we want to say it's like a depression, right? This is his visualization of a depression through his dreams. So he wakes up, he's like screaming in pain, and Inard is like, "Hey, what's up? Good morning." I love it because in the manga he gets into this whole like "Hey, how you doing?" This voice and that. But in the anime, he was just like, "Ohio," he's just like, "Hey, good morning." like I'm so used to you doing this, man. It's like I like it's everyday thing for me now, So you can even tell like he's up before Thorfinn, because he's gonna just scream and wake him up. And so Thorfinn's like, "Hey, I was falling off a cliff. I dreamt it." And Eden is like, "Oh man," Ionod is like, "Oh man, you actually remember something this time?" And he's like, he didn't really understand, because he's like, "What?" And then Eden's like, "Yeah, every time you dream, you always scream about your father." And then Ascalon, like I don't even know what Ascalon is, is it, and it's funny because he said, "Hey, I don't know what it is," right? So he doesn't realize that's a name, right? He's just like, he just thinks it's a thing, like, or a place that he used to live, right? So, time goes on, the morning comes through, and he's basically, they're getting ready, and Inar's girl, slave girl comes up, concubine girl comes up, she starts having a chit chat, and Thorfinn is reflecting on his guilt of everything that he's done in the past, so he's just like meditating, looking into the water, just forgetting common life things, right? So it pans over. Then next it shows them Farm Simulator 2.0, man. Showing them pulling some weeds out, pulling another log out of the thing. But now we get a little character context. These retainers in the field are looking through the field, and then they're noticing, hey, they're actually growing good crop here, right? And it just makes them just enraged with jealousy, right? They're like, hey, farming is for farmers were farmers, retainers, right? They call it retainers, but I think like it's just a Japanese translation type of like Nomer, it's like they say retainers. We may say like farmers are landowners, right? So
Yeah.
it's that kind of thing. So they're like, hey, we're free men. Free men are allowed to farm, not slaves, right? But it's get behind the idea of the slave owner's name Catil. So they can't really get behind his vision for what he wants out of his land, right? He wants slaves, and so they know the hard work that it goes into owning not only land but owning the slave, and the compassion that's there, right? Because if you come from a slave into a free man, then you have compassion for the next people that are slaves that you bought, right? So they notice the land, extremely right. So they get everything going. They're like, "Hey, man, we got to do something about this, right?" Right. And so next scene that they pick up, they're actually doing the houses. They're putting the straw back into the houses, re-roofing their houses. It's a very common practice. You can look up videos online of Ireland and some of the English countrysides that they still do this practice to this day. It's really interesting, really fun to watch. So go check it out. But they do re-straw in the houses. They're putting them back in there. Then that's when he's basically telling them like a little story about who Ascalon. Ascalon was, if it just to refresh, his mortal enemy. He killed Thorfinn's father. So he swore revenge on him. He went after him. He rode up behind a boat trying to kill him for like many months, and then grew up for the next 11 years plotting his revenge to kill Ascalon. And then finally, he never got the revenge he wanted, right? And so that's kind of like where the title of the episode comes. It's like Empty Man. What happens when your revenge has been taken away from you, right? And where are you now? Where's your heart now? Where's your reason? Where's your purpose now, right? So he tells this story about Ascalon and what's on, right? And now he says, I'm empty. And Imnad is like, I can relate, like I can relate, but hey, this is something that no one can tell you just to get over. You have to get over it yourself, right? So they end the conversation, and the old man, the father of basically, Catil's father, Serker, Serker, hope I'm saying that right. Serker comes in and basically says, "Hey, what are y'all doing?" He's like, they're like, "Hey, we're just working up here." He's like, "All right, that's cool, man. Well, why don't y'all come on over here with me? We're gonna go catch some fish." Well, he doesn't say that really, but he's like, "Hey, why don't y'all come over here with me once y'all done repairing the roof?" So they go out there and they're catching fish, and they're pulling in the fish and everything. And basically, he tells Thorfinn and he basically tells Thorfinn, "Hey, um, you know." He tells Inod, "Hey, you don't eat meat this time because it's Lent." And he's like, "So we got to catch fish." And so Lent is a Christian, Catholic type of religious practice. If you're not into that, but so that you know where they're at. Basically, we established it way back in the day, right? Like in episode 2 or 1, that he was Christian. Eden is Christian. We can tell that from his action and his mannerisms, right? And so that being said, that Skedved is basically giving a perspective to Thorfinn through a Christian lens, and he's taking it to heart. He's like, "Hey, can I be reborn? Can I become a new man?" Right? And so he's giving them all options. Thorfinn is really taken into retrospective. He goes through there. He says, and then one of the panels go in. He says, "Can I really change?" And then, Skedfin says, like, "Yeah, your hands have stopped moving. You got to work." And basically, it was a speak, right? Because he was telling them, "Hey, you got to continue fishing because daylight's running out. But at the same time, he's telling Thorfinn, you got to keep moving forward. You got to keep working, keep building to something, and that's your purpose in life, right? You can't just stop and then there's it. So it's those life lessons, right? So that's why this made the episode so good, like it gave us a little retrospective to Thorfinn, where his thoughts are, where he's at, instead of him just being silent for 5 episodes straight and not saying anything other than like, oh, get out of here, man. So can we wrap this up in 2 episodes? Absolutely, man. Like right now, they just combine chapters, right? Right? Can they do this for? So they get back to their land. They're walking back and everything, and then they notice something. Eden is like, they're having a little good conversation. Hey, what you think of it? Eden notices a little something about the land, and they play around and everything, and they just really not really big conversation, but it's just basically, hey, were you a warrior? What were you doing in those times that you were killing? And he told him, hey, yeah, I was a killer, but he was like, I'm human, I could change, right? And then Eden is like, yeah, and then he stops dead in his tracks, and then he looks down, and then they discover the field just tore up from the ground up. So that and then the cutscenes right there. Then it picks back up for the second portion, and the second portion, basically he, Inad is a worker. He's a farmer. He's farmed before. He already knows how. When he was a little kid, he already knows how hard it is to do this job. Right? We just watched 7 episodes of Farmland, and we know how much effort they put in. I guess that's what they were building. This huge crescendo, of them working so hard. We had to watch 7 episodes of painstaking wheat-filled episodes to now see this all torn up, right? So, Enard is looking and he's like, hey, man, whoever did this knew what they were doing, because the wind can blow wheat over. He said wheat is resilient. It'll just grow right back up, right? Yeah. He said, no, these people pulled it from the ground. So it had to be the retainers, right? The landowners, right? It had to be those landowners. They had to know that they had to dig up the roots in order for this to fail. So Enad is pissed, right? He's mad. I don't know if we use that word, but he is PO'd, right? He is mad, right? So he's like, hey, I don't care. I'm going to kill them all, So he in blind rage. Enad is, making his way back to the retainers. He knows exactly, to the landowners. He knows exactly who it is, right? So Thorfinn is like, stop, dude. Hey, you can't do that. All you're going to do is cause more trouble. You're going to cause more trouble for us. You're going to cause more trouble for everybody. And then he's like, no, Enad is like, no, they should be held accountable. And he's like, they're farmers. They know the hard work that goes into this. And that's why he's more pissed than anything, right? He's more mad than anything. He knows that they're farmers and they know the hard work that's put into this land. So he doesn't understand why. So, Thorfinn understands why, right? Because he grew, he from 11 years, he knew the difference between a warrior, a slave, a farmer, and, regular folk, right? So Thorfinn knows, right, why he's doing this, right? But Enad doesn't understand that because he's still like a naive in the sense that, he's taken from a young age as a slave, treated a slave his whole entire life for the past 11 years. And then when he's given the opportunity to, become free, he doesn't understand why the other guys who were given that opportunity to become free are not like helping him, right? Or not like are going to take advantage of that, right? So he doesn't understand that, right? But Thorfinn understands, right? So Thorfinn gets in there. He says, be calm, man. Revenge is only going to do nothing good. And he's like, let's tell Patre, let's let him know that what they did. So they go get Patre. He calms Enad down. They go get Patre. Patre says, okay, man, like I'm going to do an investigation. And sorry, guys, I know this one's running kind of long because, it's 2 chapters and it did seem long in the episode. The episode was only 25 minutes, but it did seem very long at this episode. It had a lot in there. So that being said, he said, I'm gonna do the investigations. I already know, kind of know. He's like, I already know who did this. They're bullies. They've done it before, you know. But I'm gonna still do my investigation, right? Let me handle it. I will take care of everything else. And then he kind of Patre tells him like, hey, when I was a slave, nobody helped me. They destroyed my cross plenty times, and I recovered, and look where I'm at now. So just hey, bear with it, right? So Thorfinn defeated. They make their way back. They're walking to the path. Then they come up on his girl, and she's like, she noticed their despair, right? And she says, "It looks like y'all giving up," and that kind of gets the fire under Inar. Like, hey, I can't give up. I really want to marry this girl. I really want to show her that I could be a free man too. So he walks up, they go up the path, and then they guess who they run into? They run into those retainers. They said, hey, I know it was y'all. Yuna goes, I know. Thorfinn's like, hey, stop. Patre says he's going to handle it. We just need to stop, go another path. He goes, why walk timid? Inar was like, why walk around? Why walk afraid? They know we know, right? So he walked straight up to, they didn't give his name. I forgot what they did. He walked straight up to the ringleader, right? I'm gonna call him. They walked straight up to the ringleader, and he goes like, you're the ones who destroyed our farm, and he goes, what? He goes, possibly. I don't know what you're referring. And goes, Clint's about to throw, and there goes Thorfinn, blocking his way, right? And he was like, man, he was. So this is from the manga. It says, if I ripened it, just sink and be inedible anyway. It was wheat raised by slaves after all. Man, that just sends Inod into a fit of rage, right? And then first action, second action we get in a long time, right? So I was like, action, like Thorfinn, come on, let's do it, man. So Thorfinn throws a punch and just knocks him out, right? We thought it was Inod, but it was Thorfinn who knocked him just straight cold, right? And Thorfinn's giving that, and he kind of looks like Aslan, right? Like if you go back and you compare their faces, Aslan face, right? So Aslan face, right? Like it was kind of weird. Like kind of makes me think, like, is that really is that, or like are they related like through the mother side? Like somehow they're related. Like we just don't know, or maybe they were previous chapters. I don't know, right? So he says, "Oh crap, man! You punched him, man." And then the other guys are like, "Get him, boys!" And they get into a good old Royal Rumble, man. Eden is throwing punches, and then man comes up because he's so out of practice of war fighting. He forgets blind spots. He forgets behind to always check, and then he gets cracked in the back of the head by a paddle. Thorfinn gets cracked in the head by the back of the paddle. Ianod is getting tackled by three guys. They're kind of almost losing the fight, and then Thorfinn starts to hallucinate, and he sees the people he's killed in the past, and he sees his father's face, and then bam, it ends. I mean, we get back up into the canyon where he's trying to pull himself out, and it ends right there. So it was a lot. Yeah, it was a good episode. We've had 6 episodes of Bull, and now we finally got a good episode. I'm gonna whisper. It was a good episode. But so Nick, I know I went through a lot. It was a lot.
It was a lot, though.
What were your thoughts? How do you feel? And let me know.
Man, finally we got something different. I like how you said the crescendo of farming, and now I feel like I didn't waste 7 episodes of just farming. Like you built the characters up, you showed the development of them. I can understand where people are saying that now. You're seeing Thorfinn battling his demons and everything. All in all, it was a good episode for what we've been getting for sure. I felt the artwork's always amazing, like you said before. I enjoyed it. It was something that I was like, okay, I'm gonna make sure I keep my eyes on and watch it. And unlike the other ones where I kind of just would multitask and watch it, like, oh, okay, yeah, farming again. Oh yeah, oh,
Mhm.
horse, cool, yeah. Yeah, this one was a little more of like you see their bond together, you see the just the character development of both of these characters growing into a different direction. And now I'm okay. I'm back on the intrigued a bit moment. If you aren't reading the manga, of course, because now you don't know what direction they're going. Is because one key part was when Askeladd was like he remembers him telling him, become a true warrior like your father, and so he's fighting his old self, and then he's fighting how his father would always be like, I did stuff I don't agree with, but now I don't do that. But his dad was one of the coldest there was, and so it's kind of like, where is it leading him at now? And so I enjoyed it. I really do enjoy this week's for sure. Nice work, Vinland.
Yeah, it was a really great one. Yeah, when he had the flashback with his father, it really not his father. My apologies, with Aslan, right?
Yeah,
And because I think he looked up more to Aslan than he did actually to his father, right? Because he has like a grandiose vision of his father, right? He was still a little boy, right? 5 or 6,
yeah,
I think, at the time, right? And so he just has this like his father is like all grandiose, right, to him, right? It's like his bigger than life, right? And but to the 11 years, right, he spent in battle, fighting, learning how to negotiate, learning how to fight kingdoms, right? Fight
yeah,
whole entire kingdoms, right? He learned it from Aslan, right? Like, because it was like a substitute father, right? Whether he entire time, but I don't think he really did hate him because remember in the
yeah.
end when Aslan got killed, I mean, yeah, he was like, I was supposed to kill you, but he was holding them in his arms like like a father, like I'm losing my
Yeah,
father. So he's had Ascalon as a fill-in father for the 5 more years than he did his actual father. And let's just think about it. He was 6 years old, so out of five, only like out of six, out of only two that he actually can actually remember who his father was, right?
yeah,
So like that kind of thing. So I think to me, Ascalon was more of a father, and that that's why he feels so empty. That's why he feels the way he feels is because he lost his father, Ascalon, he lost his father versus, and this is not going any further in the comics. I don't know, his emotional state by that. This is just like taking a retrospective of what's going on so far. But that's what I think, like in his dreams, like he lost a father versus losing, someone he hated, right? Because that's why whenever Eden asked him the question and was like, "Hey, like, did you get your revenge?" And he's like, he couldn't really answer him like no or yes. Like,
yeah,
yeah, no, he didn't get his revenge, but like emotionally, he didn't get his revenge, right? Because
yeah,
he didn't get to say, hey, thank you for everything you did for me, and that could be the regret of never telling somebody thank you, right? It can weigh heavy on the soul, right? And that's what we're
hmm
seeing right now.
yeah.
That it's heavy. So was it a heavy episode? I liked it, man.
No, yeah, it was
Now
it
I'm
was
gonna
good.
ask you. We got a grade system. What do you
Yeah,
give it today?
I'll give it a
Be
3.5.
nice. A what?
I'll give it a 3.5.
Me too.
I I was gonna give it a 3, but it gave a lot of, like we always say, it threaded the needle to the story. It gave us a lot. It gave me an ending where I was like, okay, I like this, and it had other details. It brought up, the slave that he's in love with being pretty much to the master, and it had little extra things added into it. So I was like, I'll give it a 3.5. The art was good. The him going back and forth in his, I guess, head of his emotions and everything, I liked it. Especially the artwork in it, and then the punching, the fighting, even though it was something very small, I mean, he broke his jaw for when he hit him. So it's like, okay, Thorfinn, yeah, we know that guy right there. And you're seeing a different side of Eden also, like his anger is coming back out again. And so it's kind of like how is this yin and yang thing going to work out with them? But I enjoyed it. It was for sure a breath of fresh air for me for this anime for a
Right.
different pace.
No, I totally agree. It is a breath of fresh air. Uh, if they combine next week's episode with 60, what is it, 70 and 71, I think we're gonna have another rocking episode next week. It's gonna be really good. If they combine, if they just do one and then one on the other one, it's still good, but it's gonna be a little longer, and which I don't agree with. I think they need to really combine a lot of these episodes. I would love to give it a 4. I really would. I would love to give it a 4. It gave us an emotional tale. It gave us some pushing of the story ahead, right? It gave us that emotional dialogue that we wanted, right? It gave us action that we wanted, right? A little bit of action, right?
Yeah, yeah.
A little bit of action. And all in all, I want to say a 3.7. I'm doing a 3.7. Just almost shy of a
Yeah.
4. Because it's like it was almost there. If we had a little more action in there, like a little more of the story of the fighting, then I would have gave it a 4, right?
Yeah.
Like it would have been there for me, right? Because I it felt like finally we got a true anime episode, right? Like we finally got a true anime episode. Finally a saga, right? A saga could be forming right now, right? Not this whole format crap. So that is it for me. All right, so
Hmm.
little tag-ins, follow us on Instagram, follow us on Twitter, follow us on TikTok, Facebook, all the social medias. We are there. Please let us know what you thought of this episode. Are we getting better? Is it getting better, Vinland Saga? Are we picking it up? Are we not picking it up? Let us know. Also too, we got some exciting things coming down the pipeline for y'all. We're working on Blue Locker, so we should have that out as well. Blue Locker, man, if you ain't watching it, watch it, man. Last Sunday's episode, whoo, man, it was good. It was good. I was like, oh my God, I need more Blue Lock, please. So, watch it. If you haven't, go and watch it. We're going to be doing some reviews. We're going to chop it up a little for y'all guys. Since we're already 18 episodes in, we're going to probably do, I told Nick we're going to do 4, 4, and 4. I think maybe we need to bump it up to about 5, 5, and 5 so that we're not having so many videos for y'all, so that we could just do some Crash, Bandicoot kind of episodes. We're just going to hit them hard so we can catch up to the recent episodes. So, but we appreciate everything y'all do, guys. We appreciate y'all watching the videos. We thank y'all very much. And if y'all have any comments, please leave them below. Mr. Nick, Master of Ceremonies, do you have anything?
Nah, man, just check out our shorts, check out our videos on TikTok, check out our tweets on Twitter. We posting a lot of different stuff on them for sure, memes and videos about information about animes that y'all watch. Let us know other animes you want us to talk about. There's a lot of them coming up with March. We'll probably do a video on it or something to let you know, keep you up to date. But yeah, I mean, just keep watching, keep supporting. It's all love, man. Later.
All right. Peace.